to another brand new episode here on Mr. Jimmy D's farm. As you can see, the combine is still out and it is gonna be out for a long time. We've got a lot of harvesting to do. I have been moseying on a little bit through off camera and getting some of the harvest done, but it's quite a warm night tonight, and there's not much dew around. The crop is still very dry, so we're persevering. As I say, we've got a lot of harvesting to get through. It's the thing is, you know, it's not just the harvest that we've you know, sort of got to do. You know, you know, it's August, so we've got our rape to drill. You know, and our rape is going on our on these fields. So we've got 4 fields. So I've done the first 3 off camera. So it's directly in front of us through those trees in the first 2 fields, and then to the left of where I am now is a smaller 3rd field, and then this is the 4th field. And as I say, I want to get these harvested, and then I've got to get them baled, and then as I say, we've got to then get it mulched and then get it drilled. So we're really busy in this you know, sort of crop in the oats, because as I say, our rapeseed follows our oats, so we're desperate to get these off. And while the weather's dry, whilst everything is kind of in favour at the moment, yes, I would imagine that when the crop gets back to the farm, and you know, we'll have to dry it a tiny bit, but there's not going to be a huge amount of moisture within the crop, because as I say, it is it's been exceptionally warm all day, and not only that as well, but it's still quite warm this evening, as I say, and with a little bit of wind around, we're able to carry on. Alright, we'll get ourselves in position, because we need to refuel. So, and that's not refueling by the looks of that. Well, is it because I've turned the engine off? Shouldn't be because of that. Why are you not refueling? We need to refuel. Try now. Don't tell me I've bought a I've bought a Bowser that I can't refill out. The problem is, you've got to be really careful, because you can't just go swinging the combine around trying to find the field trigger, because you smash the tractor to bits with the bloody header, so you have to be a bit careful. Oh, does this tractor have to be on then for the, maybe for the, although the pumps are not actually simulated? Are we not able to refuel? Do we? Yeah, I'm sure I've used this one before. Alright. What? Nearly. What we'll do is, we will do this. I don't like doing this, because you're now going to leave a big pile of straw. But we'll do this. So we'll get to here, and then we'll lift up, and then we'll reverse back and just make the swath a little bit wider. That's it. Turn that off. Lower that down. You wouldn't do this in real life, but in real life I'd just walk up to the Bowser, or I'd climb on the combine, I'd lift the cover, take the cap off, come down, get the Bowser, and then literally just climb back up the ladder and put the nozzle into the hole and just start filling it like you do your car. So in real life you wouldn't have to do any of this. It doesn't look like it's going to work, does it? Which is a problem. And the problem is that I think I just caught it there. Now, in theory, the diesel filling point will be on this side, on the right side with the ladder. So we'll see if it will. No, it's not going to do it, is it? It's not going to do it. I don't know why. Why can I not get up a little steep, a little bank like that? That's a bit weird. Let's just see if we can get this in position. I should be really miffed if, because I've taken the diesel obviously out of our own diesel tank at the farm. So if I can't use this to refuel and I can't refuel anything with it, then I've just lost 18,000 litres of bloody diesel. Right, I'm going to just switch. I'll be back in a second, okay? Right, so I'm back. Nowhere near as cool, but it works. So what's the point of cool if it's not effective? You may as well just go for effective. Anyway, we're filling up now. As I say, the reason I did the Bailey Bowser was because you don't see very many of these diesel tanks in the UK. I think they're more Australia and places like that, and probably America as well. I don't know, but I have seen in some of the Australian farmers that I do watch. I have seen these on their farms being pulled by their utes or whatever they call them. So yeah, I have seen them there, but as I say, I've not seen any in the, and just because I haven't seen any in the UK doesn't mean they're not in the UK. You know, it's you know, it's it doesn't mean they're not, it just means I haven't seen them. But anyway, we'll move this out of the way, we'll put this here, because next we're going over into those fields. They're wheat fields, they are, and we're actually getting a really good yield of everything at the moment. But I've been really lucky. Right, we can turn the lights off. Yeah, I've been really lucky so far, because I've put a lot of effort and work into looking after the land this year and doing exactly everything in order that I should do it in. Now the only bit I didn't do, and I always forget to do the bit, is I didn't mulch, but I have now bought a mulcher, so the mulcher is ready to go. I always forget to mulch. It's because, you know, I've sort of everything I do I've done on farms myself, but mulching is just never one thing we've ever done. But I mean, still not bad. 13.7 tons to the hectare. So quick maths, that's 7.5 tons to the acre ish, roughly. Slightly over 7.5 tons to the acre. I think I'm right in saying that. I'm going to get so many messages now. But maths is not my strong point. You know, I definitely wasn't employed on a farm for my maths capabilities. And that's for sure. Intelligence and maths, not two of my strong points. Yes. Anyway, but we'll crack on now. Hopefully we'll get this field done by morning, and then the combine will then be shut down, and we will then get these baled, and then once we get them baled, we will then get them mulched, and then they will be subsoiled. Well, the tram lines will be subsoiled, so we'll lift the tram lines out with the subsoiler, and then we'll drill it. And we in theory should be able to direct drill it. Oh, we need to lime it as well, so that it will be limed as well before we drill it. So as I say, busy, but we're getting there, you know, we're getting there. The one cool thing that I really used to love when I was working on a farm, especially the second farm, because it was a much bigger farm and it covered a much more bigger area, or a much bigger area. And the one thing I used to love was at night time working near and around houses. I don't know why. It's just kind of like, I mean, in the summertime, I remember one year when I was combining, I was we was combine. I can't remember where I was sort of out on the marsh, so I was in, I was sort of isolated and by myself, and I was combining, and I think I was combining rape. So what we used to do was we would, because I think I'm sure it was about 2011, 2012, and it was one of those summers where it had been wet, and then everything came at the same time. The heat came, the crops all changed, and we were literally harvesting everything. And we had 3 combines, and I was combining all the rape. We had one of the other guys was sort of in the wheat. Another one was in the barley. And then as you kind of got finished, because the milling wheat was the crop. So it meant that once you got kind of wheat, rape or barley done, you were straight into the wheat, and then the beans and stuff like that. They would wait until the milling wheat was all combined. And then you'd have the oats and all the other crops. Harvestable peas, because we grew roughly about 1,000 acres of vining peas and about 1,000 acres ish. I think most of the time it worked out just under. I think it was about 950 acres of harvest peas. But yeah, but we would but the milling wheat was the thing. But anyway, this one year I was harvesting the rapeseed, and so the field was like down a track. So from the farm you go down a really long track, and I mean a really long track. It's about 3 or 4 miles long, this track. It's a single track. What we were doing was, I was combining the crop, but I was also driving the tractor and trailer because the other guys were out on wheat duties. Because as I say, that was the crop where we made all of our money. So as I say, Adrian, the farm manager, had said to me, he said, you could do me a favour today, could you? So I said, yeah. And he said, can you go harvest the rapeseed? So I said, yeah, that's no problem. So he said, only it's not quite as simple as that. I said, go on. He said, I want you to drive the tractor and trailer and all. So I said, so I'm carting for myself. He said, yeah. He said, because he said, everyone else is on wheat at the minute. So I was like, okay, fair enough. So I ended up driving the tractor and trailer for myself. But where I was in, I had a Lexion 770. I can't remember the size of the header now, but it was a fairly substantial. I think it would probably be roughly in and around the same size as the Touran header on this game, I would imagine, because they're similar size combines. I think the 770 was slightly bigger than the Touran, is it, or Tyron, or whatever the combine is in this game. But so I think it was slightly bigger, but that doesn't, just because the combine was slightly bigger doesn't necessarily mean the header was bigger on it. And so I was busy combining away. Well, I'd done quite well, and I'd got to, so when you get to the end of the track, it then obviously goes on to, well, not obviously, but it goes on to like a minor road, and on the minor road, like there's a few houses if you go right, so you could then come into a little village. I think it was Walpole something, I think. I'm not very good with my place names. And then so you would come into a little village. But if you go left, which is the way we was going, is if you was heading to the sea, or the way I was going, when you get down there, and then you go down another track again, one of our tracks again, the field backs on to 3 houses, and it's odd because one house is on one side of the field, the other house is on the other side of the field, and then the other house is in kind of like on the end of the field, but in between. So they've made like a sort of a triangle sort of shape, and it was getting quite late. I mean, it's in the school holidays. It was getting quite late. I would say it was getting on for about 8:30, 9 in the evening. It was a big field as well. It was 127 acres, that field. So I was going to be there, you know, most of the night on my own. And of course, I'd had to travel a little way, you see. And I rang the farm manager, and I said, like, can you come and pick me up and take me back to get my tractor and trailer? I said, because it's a little bit too far for me to walk. I can't at the minute, we're busy, we've got a problem with one of the combines, you know, we're all hands on the deck here. So I said okay. So I said, alright, fair enough. So he said, just start walking back. He said, like, just walk slowly. He said, then I'll come and pick you up. I said, okay. Well, the tank was completely empty. The trailer was completely empty because I'd emptied both before I went to that field, because I thought, you know, the one thing I don't want to do is get to that field and then I've got to walk all the way back, put half a tank in, and then go all the way to the farm. I might as well do it all while I was sort of relatively near to the farm, and then, you know, all I'd have to do then was I would be starting afresh on a fresh trailer and a fresh tank in the new field, and I would be in there for, you know, I don't know, I can't remember. I mean, like I say, it was 2000. I thought I combined that. It was, I think it was about 2012 when I was in there, and anyway, so I thought, well, I've got an empty tank. I thought, I'm fairly certain I can make it pretty much all the way around the field. So I'm going like down the field. Well, I'm coming up to one of the houses, and I've gone part as I'm coming towards the house. Obviously, you know, it was sort of not pitch black, but it was dark enough that I couldn't sort of see that, you know, I could see the house lights and the houses, but it certainly was too dark for me to start picking out people. And when I got there, a mum and a small boy was out looking at the combine. He was in his jammers, she was in like a sort of jammers type, you know, sort of what I call evening relaxation clothes, where, you know, like they were like jammers, and they were standing there. So we get to I get to them, and the little boy's waving, so I'll obviously wave back, and I managed to in my lights I managed to see the mum sort of flagging me down. So I stopped and obviously opened the door and switched all the combine off and everything, because my hearing's not that great, so I had to switch all the combine off so I could hear them. And I got down, and she goes, I know it's really late at night and you're not supposed to do it, Sheb, but my little boy would love a ride on that combine. So I said, okay. I said, no problem. I said, the only thing is, I said, when I get to the other side, I said, I've got to go and fetch my tractor and trailer. I said, and that's a couple of 3 miles away. I said, so there's no point me giving him a ride now, because I ain't going to get back here. So she was like, okay. So I said, by the time I've walked 3 miles and got back again, I said, you know, it's going to be quite late. I said, no, I'd imagine he would be in bed. I just think the kid was about 8 years old. And she said, she's okay. She said, well, you're walking to fetch the tractor and trailer. I said, yeah. I said, because we're so busy at the minute. I said, look, I'm doing it both myself. So she said, I'll tell you what I'll do. So I said, what's that? She said, if you let me and my son have a ride on the combine with you. So I said, yeah. She said, for about an hour or so. As I said, yeah. She said, I'll drive you to pick up your tractor and trailer. So I was like, yep, that's a deal. Absolutely, you can ride all night if you want. If you're going to save me a walk to go and get my tractor and trailer, then you're on. So she took me for a ride to get my tractor and trailer, and because we got to the farm track, and she said to me, she goes, oh shit, I'm not allowed down here. So I said, why not? Bloody pedals. She said, what? I said, why not? She said, well, it's private. So I said, yeah, but you're with me. So she said, oh, that counts, does it? I said, well, yeah. So she was like, okay. So anyway, we went down the track and got to my tractor. So I said to her, I said, if you trust me, I said, the little boy can have a ride back with me if he wants. I said, I've got a passenger seat in there. I said, and then what I'll do is I said, when we get to the field, I said, I'll drop the tractor and trailer off, and then I said, you can pick him up from the entrance to the field. I said, and then I'll walk back to the combine, and then I said, like, you know, you can have a ride then. I said, because it's going to be a little while before I fill that trailer anyway. I said, and then you can have your hour on the combine. So that's what we did, and it was really nice. And I just loved being at the back of houses and work. I don't know why. I don't know. It just, I used to feel really. I know this is weird, right? So, you know, don't judge me on it. But I used to feel really proud that, you know, this kid that sort of was at school that was told he was going to be nothing, he was going to do nothing, do you know what I mean? Like, and suddenly here I am, driving this massive machinery, and doing, I thought, always, you know, the best job that I could do. Excuse me, the best job that I could do, and you know, and as I say, I love the fact that people used to come out and watch, and they used to get the kids out, or, you know, whatever. Or, I mean, like, occasionally, you know, I would be working in an area. I remember we got one of our fields is at the back of some old people's bungalows, and one evening, about 7 in the evening, I was drilling at the back of these bungalows, and an older gentleman came out, and he stopped me and said, like, you know, would I be able to have a ride with you on the on the tractor? And I said, yeah, of course, you know. And so you know, he would, and you would hear stories of what it was like when he was working on the land, you know, and I used to love that. I don't know, it just, you know, not only was I proud to be there and being, you know, and doing the things I was doing and driving the machinery that I was driving, and you know, and I felt like really proud, but also as well, it was, and I find it really hard to mix with people, and I thought, and I always find as well, I always say the wrong thing, even though I have every intentions of just saying, you know, my thoughts or whatever. I always seem to manage to upset someone. Like, I don't know, it just seems to be a natural sort of trait that I have, that I'm going to stop here, mate. And I'll tell you why I'm going to stop here, because I don't want to get the tank too full, because you're virtually full anyway, and I've now lost the other tractor and trailer as well, so I'm going to try and empty the tank out as much as I can, although you ain't going to hold that much in there by the looks of that. But yeah, so as I say, so it used to give me sort of social interactions with where I didn't sort of have to make the initial effort, because that's the bit that I find really hard. I find it hard to talk, and as I say, when I try and sort of explain things, or sometimes I try and sort of say what's going on, you know, whether it be, you know, here or abroad, or, you know, whatever, I tend to find that you know, that as I say, I sort of I say the wrong things, and I, you know, and as I say, you know, I don't intend to, but there we go. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to a little bit of time lapse, and then hopefully we will get this field finished, and then we will be on to some baling. As I say, we'll get that field baled, or these 4 fields, because each crop is 4 fields at the moment. That's how it works out, apart from the soybeans. And the only reason that the rest of the land, or the rest of the farm that I've got is soybeans, is because someone decided one day, I know what I'll do, I'll speed up time, I'll go off and get a cup of tea, well, a glass of squash, because I only drink 2 cups of tea a day, and then I drink squash for the rest of the day. I was like, I'll go off and get a glass of squash, and what happened was that someone called me away while I was getting it. Oh, could you just go and do that for me? Yeah, no problem. Goes and does what they asked me to do, comes back, oh, you couldn't just do that for me, could you? Yeah, no problem. All the while, I've forgotten that I've left my game on like times 120 days or whatever. So by the time I did luckily enough get back, and thankfully it was before spring ended, by the time I got back, I'd pretty much missed all of the drilling windows apart from apart from soybeans. It was one of the few fields that few crop types that was left that I could plant. So hence the reason why the rest of the farm is soybeans, is because I switched it on to get through the time a little bit quicker because I had nothing to do, and then thought, well, I know what I'll do while I'm getting that. I'll only be a couple of minutes. I'll get a drink, and then when I get back, I'll be able to sort of catch it in time. The idea was potatoes was going to go in, sugar beet was going to go in. We was going to do some maybe some carrots or some parsnips or whatever. I was sort of gonna, have a nice variety of things to do, you see. And I got back, and it was like, no, one of the few crops left that I could plant still was soybeans. So the rest of the farm this year went soybeans, but it won't be the case next year. Next year I will be a lot more on it and mindful of what I'm doing. But yeah, anyway. So I'm going to switch over to a little bit of time lapse, and then we will see where we're at. So probably this episode will just be me combining, I would imagine, this field. If I'm lucky enough to get it done, then hopefully we will have started the baling as well. But anyway. Oh, and the other thing that I did want to say, and I should say it now because I won't remember at the end. So you'll know that in the previous episode we had a John Deere X9 combine. Then I hired this one because I hired the John Deere one. Then I hired this one, and it was a case of, right, let's just have a look which combine out of the two really is the better one. Although this one was slightly more money, it had, I think the header was the same size. We had another 1,500 litres grain capacity on it, and that, when you're running just 2 tractors and trailers and the farm's quite a way away, is quite important. I mean, as it is, I'm now going to be sat around anyway, because annoyingly, I really wish the auto drive, like so with the old course play, you could set it on the priority. The priority of the trailer that you've already started to put some in, so it would leave the empty one just at the end of the field and just leave that alone, and it would just keep sending you the one with crop already in, and that way I would now be emptying into a fresh new trailer, while that first one is now off being emptying at the grain store. I would now have a fresh new trailer, and I would be able to sort of empty this full tank in there now, then go a little bit further, then top it up, so that it virtually emptied my combine again. And then by the time I'd got a full tank again, the first tractor and trailer would be back again. But as I say, because it doesn't do that, and all it does is send the nearest tractor and trailer, it means you very often get the empty one. So then you end up with a situation, obviously, where you've got 2 half-filled trailers, and it doesn't matter whichever one comes, they're going to get full. But then it's a case of you're not going to get that much in the other one. Well, then you've got 2 trailers that have gone together, and you don't really want that. So yeah, but anyway, I'm going to switch over to some time lapse, and then by the time you cut back in, we'll be combining again. So I'll see you in a minute. Hello everybody, and I'm back. I just thought I'd wake you up. Right, harvesting in this field done. We've got the baling in the first two fields and this one now nearly complete, and then we've just got that one to do, and then what we'll do is we will get the bales collected. Once the bales are collected, we can then get the subsoiler and the mulcher up and running. And as you can see, I hired a new tractor for this job and a new baler as well. Well, actually, the baler is my old baler. I've just changed the skin on it, but yeah, we've, as I say, just borrowed the tractor just to see, because I like the class stuff. And in real life, I think class is probably the way that I would go if I owned a farm, mainly because if you're a farm with significant acreage, in terms of 2,000 or 3,000 acres, or even 1,000, I guess, the class tractors, they're as capable as the John Deeres, the Vents, and the Massey Fergusons. They're quite a bit cheaper, which is a surprise. Honestly, these pedals, they're going soon. As soon as I get my own place and I can get things set the way I want it, the pedals and the steering wheel are going. I honestly sit here, I've only literally got to brush them, and then they interfere with this game, and it's only this game they interfere with. They don't interfere with Euro Truck, they don't interfere with any of my car games. It's just this blooming game that they interfere with. So yeah. Anyway, little rant over. But yeah, it's gone very well actually, to be fair. We've got a good amount of bales, so the bales will be taken probably to a beat pad for now, and then dropped off, or maybe even on the end of one of the fields if there's enough grass. We can get them dropped off, and then, as I say, I mean, it's a little bit early in the morning now. I mean, the temperature's not bad again. 23 already, and it's only 7:10 in the morning, but we will just lay off the harvest for a couple of hours, and as I say, we can. If it was real life, I would use these hours now to have someone baling, the combine driver blowing down the combine, the tractor and trailer drivers blowing down and blowing out their radiators and stuff like that, checking the trailers, greasing the trailers if that's what they needed, and just general sort of maintenance for the first couple of 3 hours of the day, blowing everything down, blowing all the air filters out, and I wouldn't really do it, whilst it is a maintenance thing for the tractor, I would sort of, when I worked on the second farm, so the first farm that I worked on, this was daily routine. Check the oils, check make sure that if your vehicle or your implement needed grease, get it greased up and what have you. Check your oils of your tractor, so that'd be like hydraulic oils, engine oils, stuff like that. Refuel it, and then as I say, I was then sort of kind of told to blow all the radiator out. This is during harvest. Blow all the radiator out, blow all the air filters out, and just generally give the tractor inside and out a bit of a clean. And the reason why I was told to do that was yes, like I say, it's a maintenance type thing, and it does help the machinery to last longer, but also as well from a sort of health perspective, if you're cleaning your air filters out every day, when you've got your air conditioning on, or in the winter time your heaters on, you're breathing what is relatively cleaner air rather than having all that dust and muck and everything in it. I know they're there to trap it and to stop you from sort of getting it, but at the same time it doesn't help to keep, it doesn't hurt rather to keep them clean, keep them and keep them maintained, and and make sure that you know, there's nothing unpleasant in there. Because at the end of the day, you know, you're breathing it in, and you're sitting in there for, you know, 15, 16, 17 hours a day. Or in the winter time, you'd be sitting in there for, you know, about 8 hours a day. As I say, on the second farm, once we'd got all worked up, all the autumn work done, so, you know, harvesting, drilling, and all the autumn stuff done, we would then, you know, we would then switch down to 4-day weeks, and so we would do our 40 hours in 4 days, so 10 hours a day, and then we would get a you know, a 4-day week, and we'd have 3 days obviously then with you know, sort of our families and doing whatever. So, you know, it wasn't too bad, but yeah, as I say, you need to you know, you need to be on top of that. So that's what I'd have them doing. So that's why the combine's kind of sat still at the moment. It's kind of simulating that, yeah, it's a bit damp first thing in the morning, and also as well, you know, I would have someone there cleaning it out, and the same with the tractors as well, and refueling, ready for the day's work. So yeah, I'd say it's gone well. We'll put it on a beat pad. There's a little farm there. I mean, you know, we could go and knock on the door and just ask them if they would mind us, you know, placing our bales in there. I'm sure they wouldn't mind. They're only, to be fair, they're only really going to be in there for a day or so. They're not going to be in there for long, because I do actually need them down at the cows, because their straw is starting to run low. So yeah, but otherwise, as I say, not going too bad. Like this tractor. Do I like it enough to spend the money on it? I'm not sure yet. But I do like the tractor. It's a very nice tractor. And it works very well. So as I say, in game, I'm just sort of kind of, I mean, eventually I want to do everything in the game has, in terms of farming wise, not necessarily production wise, but in terms of farming wise. So that's like veg, cereals, or grains, you know, animals and sort of stuff like that. And I think what I would like to do is have different tractors and trailers for different departments of the farm. That way they're easier to keep hold of. So, you know, I've got my class combine, I've got my class tractors, so that's kind of okay for the cereals. Now I'm kind of looking, right, we need baling tractors, we need, you know, tractors for you know, tractors for you know, the vegetables and the, you know, baling and different things, you know, cultivating, seeding, you know, that sort of stuff. And that's not necessarily what I would do in real life, but this is a game, and, you know, it gives you the freedom to do that, and so I'd quite like to do that. And plus as well, it caters for everyone. You know, in terms of, you know, some people like to see John Deere, some people like to see, you know, Case. I mean, you know, I'm going to struggle to buy Case, I've got to be honest, but although, as I've often said, you know, towards the end of my farming career, I got to drive a Case Optum from the farm in Sutton Bridge all the way up to, now then, I can't think of the name of the place that it was, but it was near Hull. I can't think what the name of the place was, but yeah, it was to a farm in Hull, and to be fair, I really liked it. I really liked it a lot. But my previous experience of 2 Case tractors, which was a Case Maxim and a Case Puma, and honestly, the Case Maxim was on the first farm that I worked on, or Maximum or whatever they were called, and that, I mean, honestly, I just spent all of my days in the workshop. You know, I mean, it could have just been that particular tractor rather than the brand, and the brand, you know, one of the biggest selling brands in the world, so there's clearly not too much wrong with them. But yeah, it was a case of I wasn't too impressed with it, but yeah. And then, as I say, the other case came on a farm. The second farm that I worked on, they had a case Puma. It was the last one because they were replacing them all with John Deere's. Well, John Deere's and New Hollands, funnily enough, the T7s. And I got the case Puma, and again, I just spent most of my time in the workshop. They were not very good tractors, but although I didn't use the Optum for work, in terms of I didn't do any ploughing with it or any cultivation or trailer work or anything like that. I literally just one day got to work and boss said, I haven't really got much on for you today, but I have got a job that's going to take you all day and a little bit. And so I was like, okay. So he said, I want you to take a tractor to this place. It's just outside Hull. He said, like, take your time, just enjoy the ride. You know, if it takes you all day and you need to stop somewhere. You know, whatever. Like, but just, you know, take your time. Don't hit nothing. That was kind of the advice that I got. Take your time. Don't hit nothing. So, okay. I wasn't planning on hitting anything, to be honest. But you know, I'm glad you pointed it out. So yeah, that was the thing. But yeah. Anyway, I'm going to crack on with this, and then what we'll do is we'll do a little bit more time lapse, and then I'll probably come back again, and or I may even just time lapse the bales, and then come back for when I start subsoiling and when we start to do the mulching. Because we can do the mulching and the subsoiling together. That's no problem. And yeah, we can crack on. So a little bit more time lapse, and I'll see you in a little while. So I'm back. That's got those bales cleared anyway, which is good. And then we've got so this Challenger, I bought this out of bloody pedals. I bought this out of
sale. So even though we have got 2.5, well, nearly not quite £3 million in the bank, I am still buying most of my machinery used. Eventually we will get it so that we will just buy only brand new, but at the moment the used stuff that we've bought, I mean, this Challenger is, it's got 39.2 hours. If you think of that as real life, in real life terms, then it's got absolutely nothing on it. So at 30, as I say, 39 hours, I would definitely be buying a Challenger. And I think it was about 240,000 for the highest engine version. It was a no-brainer, really. And plus, as well, the good thing about it is, although it is a bit overkill for the subsoiler, the one good thing about it is I can have that subsoiler absolutely buried into the ground, and this Challenger will pull it absolutely no trouble. So it was well worth it for me. As I say, we'll get these tram lines pulled up, and then as I say, we can then bring the mulcher in. I'll probably bring the mulcher in when I bring the drill in, to be fair, because what I don't want is, while I'm doing the tram lines, I don't want the mulcher to keep getting in my way. In theory it should get away from me, but I'm not doing every breed, whereas it will be. So so I'll do the subsoiling, and then bring the mulcher in when I come to drill it, and then we'll drill it straight behind. As I say, it will be drilled today, although it's nearly 9:30 now in the morning, so we'll be thinking about getting the combines up and running, combine up and running as well, because the one thing we can't really afford to do is to in the summertime have the combine stood still. So that will be up and running as well, and we'll get the wheat being brought in while we're busy getting this mulched and getting it drilled. I'll probably shove the drill on this tractor, and then I've got a well, obviously I'll put the mulcher on a different tractor, but the mulcher doesn't need such a high horsepower tractor. So whereas, as I say, because I've got this buried into the ground, although it is a bit overkill in size, it's ideal for the job because it can just pull it no problem. And as I say, we will then get this done, but it's going to take a little while to do this, so I'm going to leave this video here for now, and then I'll see you in the next episode. So hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks ever so much, everyone, for watching. Really do appreciate it. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's a little bit different today that I've done it, just trying one or two little things out, and seeing kind of what works, what doesn't, and I hope you've enjoyed it, as I say, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.